Do you have a truck? Do you want to add some bass to it? Are you questioning what you can fit under your rear seat? Alright guys, welcome to episode 96 of In the Shop with Custom Lows. Today we're going to be going over this underseat enclosure I got back here, and we're also going to be talking about different configurations of subs you could fit under your seat in the different trucks: Ford, Chevy, GMC, Nissan. Basically what I offer, I'm going to be able to tell you guys what will fit, how many subs, what size subs, and give you guys a good idea of where to go in your truck underseat build. Alright, so this box right here is for a 2013 Chevy Silverado crew cab. It's going under the seat, like I said. It's for 4 scarred ZVX 8s. It's got the 4-inch air ports on the side, black bed liner, double baffle with flush mount, window braces on the inside to hold the back, bottom, top port and the baffle. SMD terminal on the back right there. Definitely a good looking enclosure. This is an example of something that'll fit in the 2007 to 2019 Chevy or GMC crew cab with a 2.5-inch seat lift, of course. Alright, so I will start off by saying none of this information you're going to hear is definitive. I have had many years experience doing underseat enclosures, and I got a good idea of what fits, what doesn't, and what might work. I've worked on Ford, Chevy, GMC, Nissans, Dodges. I don't offer any Dodge enclosures, but I have done custom orientations for Dodges, like one-offs and stuff like that. So I have a good idea of underseat enclosures, all the different years and stuff like that. I got a pretty good angle on them. So we're gonna go over the subs that will fit, what will work, what will actually get you the proper airspace, and really the base that you're gonna be looking for. I know it's heavily debated, like which brand is better in trucks, so I'm gonna start with Fords out of no particular order of importance or personal preference. So just picking Ford. So for the Ford F-150, 250, you're going to have the year 07 through 2020, basically, even up to 2021. I have found basically the same box will fit all throughout. Now this is the crew cab. You have to have the crew cab for this to apply to you. So let's start off by going over different variations you're going to use with no seat lift. Now this is going to be the stock seat height. You're going to be able to fit obviously 1 6.5, 2 6.5s, 3 6.5s, or 4 6.5s. I wouldn't go anything more than that. Some people might say you can, but personally I believe you're better off having the correct airspace if you can. So I would say 4 6.5s without a seat lift is about as much as I will do. As far as 8s go, you're a little more limited. I would say 1 8 or 2 8s is about all you're going to fit without a seat lift. Now around the same space that 2 8s will occupy, you can definitely fit 1 10 in. Now the difference is, without a seat lift, you're not going to be able to fit the 10 forward firing. You're also not going to be able to go with a very deep 10-inch woofer as well. You can do them up firing or down firing without a seat lift. If you are going to use a seat lift, your options definitely open up a lot. Now if you want to get a seat lift, LMI welding is the only place I'm going to recommend to go. You're going to be able to do 2 8s. Now you can also do that with no seat lift, but again, more space, more bass. Sometimes it's better off to have less woofer in the proper amount of space than it is to have more woofer. So I'm going to mention 2 8s again, just for that reasoning. 4 8s definitely just like this. I'm going to be able to fit 4 6.5s, 6 6.5s. Now, also, you're going to be able to do 1 10 forward firing, have plenty of space in the enclosure for the sub and the port. You're going to have a nice amount of port area. 2 10s, very well possible. Even 3 10s actually. You're going to be able to fit 1 12 in there as well, but it's going to have to be up firing or down firing because you're not going to have enough space to fit it on the front baffle of the enclosure. So I will say I've definitely seen other configurations in the 07 to 2021 Ford F-150/250s with the seat lift, but I don't recommend those because I like to have the proper space in my enclosures, and also I believe there are certain limitations that you should follow when building an underseat enclosure. You want to make sure you're going to have the proper port area, which really becomes a big concern when you're trying to run things like multiple 12s. I would never put 2 12s in a ported enclosure under the seat, just because simply you're going to have a hard time squeezing out the correct amount of port area while maintaining the right amount of space in your box, which is very important. Next up, you got the Chevy and the GMC underseat truck enclosures. Now we're going to talk about the no seat lift, stock seat height from the factory, what you're going to be able to fit in there. Again, you're gonna have some limitations because again, you're gonna be trying to maintain the factory seat height, but there also is a lot of different variations you can go with that are gonna give you the base that you're looking for in your truck. So this right here is a version that is something that requires a seat lift, but if you do not wanna run a seat lift, you're gonna be able to obviously run 6.5-inch subwoofers. You're gonna be able to run 1, 2, or possibly 3, I would say, and have the correct airspace still. As far as 8-inch woofers go, you're going to be able to fit 1 or 2 woofers max. Unfortunately, I'd say that's about it if you're going with no seat lift on the Chevy or GMC underseat boxes. The center hump really kind of throws in some complication to getting the proper airspace for the woofer. So if you're not wanting to run a seat lift 1.6, 2.6s, 1.8 or 2.8s, maybe you could do 110, but again, you're going to be very limited on what you can do because of the mounting depth. You'd either do it up firing or down firing. So when you put the seat lift in, you're going to run into a lot more possibilities for different woofer sizes, amounts, and variations. What you see right here, 2 examples of what you're going to be able to fit, 4 8s and 2 10s. Now this is a 2.5-inch seat lift. Again, if you want to get a seat lift, go over to LMI Welding. It's the only place I recommend getting seat lifts from. So as far as 6.5s go, you're going to be able to fit 2 6.5s, 3 6.5s, 4 6.5s, 5 6.5s, or 6 6.5s. Obviously 5, kind of weird to do. Gonna throw off some symmetry there. 2, the box is going to be on the larger side, on the way larger side. For 8-inch subs, you're gonna either go with 2 or 4. You could also do 3, but again, throwing off the symmetry a little bit in the build. Right here again is 4 8s. Now the box does have 2.7 cubic feet, so keep that in mind. Although I've done even up to X8s, and the boxes have sounded amazing. The customers have always been happy. So 2 8s, 4 8s, or 3 8s are definitely going to be good to go. And then you're going to start going into the 10-inch woofers. So obviously you see back there, again, this is an example of the 07 to 2019 Chevy and GMC crew cab underseat enclosure. If you have a 2.5-inch seat lift installed, you're going to be able to fit 2 10s or 1 10. Now you can go forward firing, down firing, or up firing. Again, up firing or down firing, you're going to be slightly limited to what woofers you can do and the mounting depth. You're going to be able to get away from the shallow mount woofers, but you're not going to have as much mounting depth, and you're not going to be able to mount like the Sundown X in there. I believe I could probably even fit up to a ZV6 in there. I believe I actually do have an enclosure coming up with some ZV6 in it, so that's going to be interesting. You can see the top cutout for the fiberglass humps we're going to use to fit those motors in. So 110, 2 10s maximum is that you're going to fit with the seat lift version enclosure. As far as 12s go, the most I would recommend is 112, possibly 2 12s if you want to run sealed. Now again, I don't recommend sealed enclosures very often either, because you guys, I know you like base, so I'm going to recommend ported every single time. Next, you're going to have the 20 to 21 Chevy and GMC crew cabs. Those right there, they have a higher stock factory height on them. You're not going to need a 2.5-inch seat lift to fit some different variations. You can run, for 6.5s, you're going to be able to run, obviously, 1 all the way up till 6 without a seat lift, because the factory seat height is a lot larger than the previous year. It's kind of like it has a seat lift in it already. Maybe they had you base heads in mind, probably not, but maybe storage at least. So you do have a lot more space underneath the newer 20 and 21 Chevy and Silverado, or Chevy and GMC crew cab. 21, as far as the 10s go, you're going to be able to fit 110, 2 10s forward firing, or you're going to be able to fit 112 up or down firing in a ported configuration. So whether you're going to run a seat lift or not in your truck on the 2020 to 2021 GMC and Chevys, I would say stick to the classic woofer orientations that I've already presented for the no seat lift. So for the 6.5s, you're going to be able to do 4 or 6. The 8s, 2 or 4 8s. On the 10s, you're going to be able to run 110 or 2 10s, and then 12 again, 112 up firing or down firing. You could do 2 12s, but again, you're going to have a sealed enclosure, and ported is always going to give you more output than a sealed enclosure, in my opinion. Obviously, there are slight exceptions to that mindset, but that's kind of the rule I follow. Next, we're going to jump back to an earlier year of the Fords. We're going to go for the 04 to 08 Ford F-150 250 Super Crew. Now, these may fit more years, but again, I'm only mentioning in this video what I've confirmed myself and what I have done, and I know that will work. So You're gonna always wanna run a seat lift on this thing. There is a pretty complicated cutout in the back to make the seat belt hump fit, and then you have some other hump as well. So you're kind of limited on airspace for that enclosure. Also, because of the humps inside the enclosure, you get kind of limited on which ports you can run. So for that setup, you're always gonna run a seat lift, in my opinion. You're gonna be able to do 2 8s, well, I guess we'll start with the 6s, 2 6s, 4 6s, possibly 6 6s. Again, you're running a seat lift, but you're gonna run into some complications with you're figuring out where to put your ports in that box. Next, I would say 8s, you're gonna run 2 8s or 4 8s, and then 10s, I would probably say stick to 110, because again, based on the shape on the inside of the box you're gonna have some complications with trying to figure out how to fit your port in there, and a big enough port for having a proper port area for the 10s. The 12-inch woofer, I could say you could probably fit in there sealed, up firing or down firing. Again, you're gonna be limited on the mounting depth of the woofer because of the fact that the height on the front of the enclosure and the back of the enclosure is not very tall under the seats, even with a seat lift. Lastly, you have the 07 to 2015 Nissan Titan. No seat lift. If you want to run no seat lift on the Nissan Titans, I'm gonna say 2 6s, 4 6s, 1 8 or 2 8s is gonna be your maximum. I wouldn't even try to do a 10, because again, you're not gonna have the front facing height to run a 10, or even the height on the box. You're gonna be very limited to the woofers you're gonna be able to run in that setup. With the seat lift, your options are definitely gonna open up a lot more. You're gonna be able to run 2 8s, 4 8s, 110, 2 10s, or 112 up firing or down firing. We're not gonna spend too long on the Nissan Titans, only because I know really they're not very much popular. I've only built one enclosure for the Nissan Titan in this whole time that I have actually been building boxes. So that's gonna be it. Like I said, this video and information you're hearing, it is based on my knowledge and my experience, so I'm definitely missing some trucks in here. I am not going over every one of them. I'm even missing some years, and that's really because I haven't done them yet, so I'm not gonna go recommending them now. If you want an underseat enclosure, you can go check out my website, www.customlowz.com. I got the link in the description below. If you want to get some designs and build something yourself, I also got designs on the website as well. You can check those out. Would appreciate if you bought an enclosure or a design. Either way, build them. Let's see what you guys can come up with. Different sub orientations, see what you guys fit with the design I offer on my website. If you have made it this far in this video, I would like to say I very much appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so right now. Drop me a comment below, maybe what you have found to fit under the seat of a truck, as far as sub variations or amounts. Maybe what if you have a truck, what woofers you have in it, what kind of system you're running. I want to hear that. Also, as always, drop down in the comments below 1728 if you have watched this far. Like a little secret between me and the people who are actually watching the video this far. I know it's according to even the analytics, a lot of you guys aren't watching this far, but for the ones who do, I appreciate you. I love you. You guys are the true fans, true supporters, and I am very grateful for that. So that's it for this video. I'm getting out of here. We're gonna package this thing up, get it shipped out. If you want to order an underseat enclosure, go check out my website and go check out all my other videos. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop me down a comment below.